So a little over 2 months ago, I had this crazy idea to just put almost every single coating that I could think of that I had in my shop on my car. I do often wonder if that was just like the worst idea I've ever come up with. And I thought, okay, it's gonna be super easy to just do quick updates for you guys. But the reality is that to share with you guys, to film and share with you guys 30 different coatings, how they all look, I need like 1 or 2 hours just to be able to do that properly. And this is the first time in like 2 months that I've actually had a moment to wash my car. I didn't want to wash my car off camera. I could have just rapidly got it done, but I didn't want to taint the results to share with you guys because many of you are curious, how are these coatings going to perform? I will say this, and please don't judge me. I did get to a point in the midst of just all of the craziness. My vehicle was getting to the point where it was dirty. We had had a ton of rain. I took my vehicle through a non-touch automatic car wash. I know, as detailers, you're all cringing. There's like nails down a chalkboard. But the reality is that most of these coatings, they need to be able to withstand those type of chemicals because that's what the average customer is going to expose their vehicle to. Idealistically, as detailers, we assume that our customers are going to wash their vehicles every 3 to 4 weeks, pH neutral soap, ceramic friendly soap, do a safe contact wash, maybe a rinseless wash, use a ceramic drying aid, and the ceramic coating is going to perform really well for them. That is very idealistic. However, that's not very realistic. The average customer that I'm seeing maybe is washing their vehicle once every 2 to 3 months because the beauty of a ceramic coating is that your vehicle isn't going to get as dirty as quickly. And even when you drive through the rain, it's like a free car wash. So that's what a coating is designed to do, and customers are taking advantage of that. That may not be ideal for the durability or long-term aspect of the coating, but that's just what I'm seeing customers are kind of putting them through. And they're going through the automatic car wash. I do recommend the non-touch, and that's what I did, because obviously you don't want brushes creating swirls and scratches and kind of abrading off the coating. But those soaps, they can weaken a ceramic coating on the long term. As detailers, we know that. Sometimes customers, they forget that. And so I want to kind of share with you guys how a customer is going to realistically maintain their vehicle with these coatings. Maybe do a contact wash every few months as time permits. And maybe in the winter time, when you don't have the capabilities because it's too cold, you're going to take it through the automatic non-touch car wash. So all that being said, today's gonna be the first time that I'm doing an actual contact wash on my vehicle. I've been dying to do it. I've seen fantastic things when the vehicle gets rained on, beautiful hydrophobics. When I drive through the rain, the water just flies right off, which that's exactly what I wanna see. I wanna kind of look a little closer, see, do we have any clogging issues? Do we have any water spotting issues? Also, for this test, because I don't want to taint the results, we're not going to use a drying aid. I do recommend it for ceramic coatings to help with lubrication as you dry, but I don't want to taint that because then you can make the argument, are the hydrophobics coming from kind of the coating or the topper? It's kind of the chicken or the egg argument that most detailers, they kind of get stuck on. We're going to eliminate that altogether. We're not going to use a drying aid. It's going to kill me. You're not going to have as much safety during the drying process, but for the sake of the results, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to show you guys quick shots of what the hydrophobics look like before we do our contact wash. I have a good bit of film on my vehicle, so there may be some clogging. We'll see. After we do our rinse, we're going to do a foaming pre-soak with Carpro Disco. We're going to do a contact wash with Carpro Disco. That's an acid-based soap. It can help go after some mild water spotting, and it helps refresh the ceramic coating. It's not going to alter it. It can just refresh it. And then we'll show you guys the final rinse, how our coatings look. So make sure you guys watch closely. I'm just going to put up in text what each of the coatings are, so that way, for those of you that are looking for specific coatings, how they're performing, I don't want you to miss from one shot to the next, because we're going to try to make this as quick as possible. Once I'm done washing my vehicle, I'm going to actually be applying 3 to 4 more coatings. If I'm not crazy enough, we're going to apply 3 to 4 more coatings to my vehicle, because some of you have requested specific ones. I was waiting for some to come in the mail. They're finally here. We actually, one coating, it's going to be the first model ever created, and I get to be the lucky one to apply. So for those of you that want to see some other coatings applied, or maybe there were ones that you didn't see on the initial video that you were like, oh, I was really hoping to see that, stay tuned. They might be in the second video. But anyways, for those of you who have been so patient, wanting to see this video, thank you guys for your patience. I know sometimes life just gets in the way, but I've been really excited. I personally can't wait to see these results. I've been just as excited as you are. So without any further ado, let's get set up and let's go ahead and see how our coatings are holding up 2 months later. On the hood, we had 3 graphene coatings from McKee's 37. At the top, we had their 10-year coating. In the middle, their 5-year coating. And then at the bottom, their 3-year max coating. You can also use this coating as a topper on a older coating that's 1 or 2 years old. And then moving on, we have our Black Rhino graphics coating. And then on the left side, we have their optics coating. So this is our 3-year no-hype ceramic coating. And then over here, we have our fat beads ceramic coating. So this panel, we had our BC1. You can actually see fingerprints. Maybe we have some abrasion. You see a little bit of a chink right there. We had our Stoner, and then we had our Chronos. All of our trim were coated with those specific coatings as well. Our trim looks fantastic. Over here we have our DuraSlick coatings. Very impressive, and I can tell you guys, initially after application, the slickness on this panel was very impressive. Next, we have the Aquatech Select. This is a mobile coating. You don't have to be authorized to purchase this, and this is going to last up to 3 years. Very impressive. We do have a little bit of sheeting that I can see, which I sometimes am a fan of that can help reduce water spotting issues, so our Aquatech is looking great. Next, we have the Superior Products Nano Coating. When applying this, there were no instructions for how long you need to let this coating dwell, but we let it sit on there for about 2 minutes till we started to see it flash off. I'm not seeing as tight of beads as other coatings, so we're gonna keep our eye out for that coating. So back here we have our Veros Pro 9-year ceramic coating. This was one of the more expensive ones that we work with. But you can see we have really nice sheeting. And then our Armor Detail Pro quartz coating. Out of all of the coatings, I do have to say that this one was the slickest. Even a month after, when I go to close this trunk, it wants to just fly right off of my hand. So it is an extremely slick coating. We're gonna be kind of taking a little bit of these coatings off just to give this a dedicated section, and we're going to be putting Art to Shine Nanographene V3 on this section. They authorized me to be able to install that, so really excited to see how that compares with these other pro grade coatings. Up here we have our C6 Hydro Light ceramic coating. You can see our control panel on the other side where we're going to be adding some more coatings. We did not coat up here as well. So we have space for probably 3 or 4 that we're gonna be putting, even on our sunroof. But that looks really, really impressive. I was very happy with how easy it was to apply. So there's our C6 Hydro Light ceramic coating. Really nice fat beads. Most people who detail cars professionally have this weird fascination with water beads. I've coined the term hydrophobatic, and I myself am a proclaimed hydrophobatic. But I have to be honest, out of using 30+ coatings, these were the most impressive hydrophobics out of all of the coatings that I've worked with. I was kind of geeking out. Very, very, very impressive. This is my first time really looking at it up close. I'm curious to see how this will compare with our other diamond coating. We're going to be putting CarPro D-Quartz. That is a diamond-based coating on the other side to kind of see diamond versus diamond, which one is better. So moving on, before we hit this with any sort of water, I just want to kind of point out, we do have a slight film on the vehicle. You can just see ever so slightly. And we do have just kind of some rain splatter. I'm not seeing a huge difference in soiling levels from one coating to the next. Obviously, you're gonna have more right behind the wheel. So I'm not seeing where one coating is kind of holding on to dirt more than the others. Up here we have our Ethos. This is our graphene coating. And then we have the Easy Peasy coating. Feels like we do have a little bit of a difference. We have some tighter beads over here, and you can actually see a little bit of a line right here. So just interesting. That's the only really visible line that I'm seeing. And that does go away. That might have just been overspray, but the beads don't look quite as tight. We could have some clogging issues. Let's do our contact wash to kind of see, but I don't see quite as much of that going on over here with the graphene coating. Over here we have our DIY detail 3-year, 5-year, 8-year, and then the stack. Trim looks good. I might have missed a spot right there because I'm just kind of seeing where it's behaving differently. We did our 3-year on our rear view mirror. But from 3-year to 5-year to 8-year to stack, I'm not seeing side by side like a huge difference. Personally, to the visible naked eye, I don't see much difference in gloss either. Maybe my mind wants to play tricks on me and think that this far right one is a little glossier. So we'll just say maybe. What do you guys think? So real quick sidebar, for those of you that watched the original video, you know that on this panel we applied Meguiar's M88, their Beyond Professional Ceramic Coating, and out of all of the coatings that I worked with, this was the one I struggled with the most. We had high spots that I had to polish off. I wasn't a fan of the application process. I actually threw the coating away after using it because I wasn't a fan. I didn't understand it. To Meguiar's credit though, they actually reached out to me after that video and they said, listen, like we saw you were having some issues. We were troubleshooting back and forth, trying to figure out what went wrong. Was it me? Was it the environment? And we actually realized when we zoom in on the bottle, you could see that the orifice was slightly raised. They had a small batch of bottles that was the issue. The orifice wasn't flush. And what would happen is that you're going to get air in the bottle and it's going to cause the coating to start to cure in the bottle. And so that is why I was having issues with the coating. It was already starting to cure. That's why it wasn't flashing properly. It wasn't wiping off properly. So they sent me a brand new bottle. We're going to revisit that coating in the future. We're going to give it another shot because that's not necessarily a coating problem. That's kind of a manufacturer bottling issue that they've now corrected. So for those of you that kind of were thrown off by that video, I apologize to Meguiar's because I just shared my experience. I never like to kind of blast one manufacturer or another. I just share my experience, but I wanted to kind of bring you guys in on those updates, let you know that they figured out what the issue was. It wasn't user application error. It wasn't necessarily the coating error. It was a bottling issue. So there are things that you got to take into consideration like that. So as far as the coating performance, I don't believe the coating performance will be affected, that we need to polish it off and reapply it. It was just kind of the leveling process that we had issues with. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at the rest of our coatings. So here we have our Meguiar's M88. And like I said, we're not seeing any issues with the hydrophobics. I don't believe that what we dealt with as far as with the coating was the coating issue, was just the flashing issue. Over here we have our Geon Mose. Out of all of the coatings, that was my favorite to work with. It was so easy. We had really nice sweating signs, which I like because it kind of takes the guesswork out of is the coating ready. And then over here we have our Vonix V-Paint. Can see where we open and close the door, maybe some friction, maybe it's worn off some of the hydrophobic top layer. Again, could be just clogging. We'll take all of that into consideration, just kind of making these notations for you guys. Over here we have our G-Technique CSL on the left, and then on the right we topped it with their EXO V5 4 hours later. I was very impressed with the slickness of the EXO V5. Very impressed with what I'm seeing as far as hydrophobics. Down here you can see we have another control panel. We're going to apply Cerakote to this panel, their updated formula. So we'll get that ready for you guys after this video. But there you have all of the ceramic coatings, what they look like even after not washing for a month.
Because this is the first time I'm doing a contact wash in 2 months and we have a heavier amount of film on here and the possibility of mild water spotting issues, we're using descale soap. I wouldn't necessarily recommend using this as your day-to-day maintenance soap. You might want something more pH neutral, but for this purpose, it's more than suitable.
And I wonder why I put it off so long. Like, it's gonna take so much time. It literally took 7 minutes. This is what ADHD does to you. You think something's gonna take forever, and so you just don't ever unload the dishwasher. In reality, it takes 5 minutes. Time yourself doing it next time to know how long does it really take so that you just stop pushing it off. 7 minutes. 2 months, it's fine. It's fine. Let's go ahead and rinse it.
So this is our optics. Appears to be more of a sheeting coating. This is our graphics. So from you guys, if you see a coating and if you see any observations, let me know you guys' opinions as you see these coatings in the comment section down below. Piece 37. We got our 10-year at the top, followed by the 5-year, followed by the 3-year or topper. Nice flooding by all of them. We can practically dry our panel with water. Graphics, that floods nicely. Optics, not as rapidly, but it definitely does sheet nicely. Here's our C6 Hydro Light. Again, our control panels with nothing on them. You can see a visible 50-50. We did do our trim with the C6 and really nice tall beads. We flood this panel. Really nice tall beads. It's on a flat surface, so it's going to be really hard for it to kind of sheet off, but you can see really nice big beads, which you can then just kind of come in and blow off, and that's going to help reduce the risk of water spots. So very, very impressed with the C6 Hydro Light. This is our G Technique CSL. You can see a difference. CSL is more sheeting, and then when topped with our EXO V5, we have more beading. Again, here's our control panel. Rapid sheeting when topped with the EXO V5. CSL does sheet, but it kind of wants to run off. You can see, like, and then over here with our EXO V5. I can see a difference. Can you? Here is our Meguiar's M88, G on Mohs, and our Vonix V paint. And I can see a little bit of a difference in the hydrophobics in kind of our high touch areas where my kids for some reason can't use a handle, always have to close the door using the actual paint. Anyone else's kids do that? It drives me nuts. Let's go ahead and sheet it. Meguiar's M88. Sheets nicely. G on Mohs. And then our Vonix V paint. Here we have our DIY detail 3-year, 5-year, 8-year, and then our stack. Can you tell a difference side by side at this point? 3-year. 5-year, 8-year, and stack. Here we have our Ethos graphene and our Easy Peasy. You can see after washing, the Easy Peasy looks improved. It looks like it wants to sheet more than bead. And that graphene coating, it just looks beautiful. Nice tall beads that fall effortlessly off. Smaller beads like this. While yes, you have a lot of hydrophobics, that's where you have a higher risk of water spotting, because those little beads, it's gonna take more force, more air to kind of push them off, whereas these taller beads, they'll just kind of fall off on their own. So for those of you that argue graphene doesn't do anything, I think it does. I think it gives you taller beads, and taller beads give you less risk of water spotting issues because the water falls off due to the height of the bead. It just kind of goes. Now for our no hype and our fat beads. You can see a big difference in characteristics. This wants to sheet more. And this is definitely, obviously, due to the name, gonna be bigger beads. It really depends on what you're looking for. But for those of you that like sheeting coatings, stuff is $25. Now we have our Chronos coating, followed by our Stoner 5-year paint coating, and then the BC1. They all look very similar at this point. Maybe a little bit more sheeting from our Chronos, which again, many of you really like that. And I'm really excited. I'm just gonna kind of spoil my own thing. We have V2 of Chronos that we're gonna be applying for you guys, and I actually was able to get my hands on the very first bottle ever made of this. So we're gonna be putting Chronos V2 on the vehicle to compare it for you guys. And when we flood, there's our BC1. Very, very nice. Our Stoner paint ceramic. And then our Chronos. Holy cow, does that sheet. Whoa, that's like a mirror. I know you would be very happy to see that, Erin, because I know I am. Next up, our DuraSlick coatings. I was very impressed with how easy all of these coatings were to install. And for those of you that are looking for more support from a professional company, very impressed with all 3 of our DuraSlick coatings. They look very, very similar.
Next up, we have our Aquatech Select ceramic coating. This is a Florida-based company. This is for more of the mobile detailer, very sun-friendly. I'm very impressed with what I'm seeing. But however, I'm pretty disappointed because it appears like our Superior Products Nano 5K ceramic coating is our first failure. In comparison to the Aquatech, where we have really nice beading, this is not a sheeting coating. This is a pretty dead coating. So I'm really surprised that 2 months in, with just an automatic non-touch car wash, road film, and a mild acid-based soap that you can maintain a ceramic coating with, it has actually killed this ceramic coating. I'm not going to say that the coating is bad because there could have been an issue with installation. Maybe we needed to let it sit longer than 2 minutes. But again, instructions weren't very clear online. So I don't want to necessarily write it off. We might need to do more testing on it in the future. But at this moment, a little disappointed that 2 months in, we already have our first failure. And I didn't really do an exorbitant amount of torture. This was just kind of everyday wear and tear that a vehicle is going to see.
Here's our C6 hydro. And then again, our control panel. And then last but not least, we have our professional grade authorized installer products. We have our Veros Pro ceramic coating. This was one of the more expensive ones that we work with. Very nice, tight beads. This was kind of our control section. You can see a little bit more of that clearly. And then this was our Armor Detail Pro quartz. That is sick. That looks really nice. Very impressed by that. Wow, that's fun. All right, and again, there's our control panel where we're going to put our Cerakote. So there you have it. All of our ceramic coatings, how they are performing. 2 months in, not necessarily babying it.
Like I said at the beginning of this video, we're not going to be using a ceramic drying aid. Now, many of you probably never even heard of that. This is just a ceramic detailer that you would use as a drying aid to give you a little bit of extra lubrication as you dry to help prevent swirls and scratches. It also can help refresh the hydrophobics and give you nice slickness on the paint should you have lost some of that over time. We might use a rinseless wash in the future, but at this point we're just using our Ego blower to blow off as much of the water as possible, and then we'll come in with our Gauntlet drying towel. This is one of my favorite drying towels to safely dry the vehicle.
So real quick, after doing our first maintenance wash, I would say we definitely have some top performers, a lot that are coming in right where I expected them to be, and a couple that I'm a little concerned. I'm not sure they're gonna last quite as long as the manufacturer is saying they are, and that may be a lot of the coatings in the long run. But at this point, I should be seeing a little bit more out of some of these coatings, so I'm gonna go over those really quick. My top 3 coatings so far at this point, number 1 is going to be the C6 Hydro Light. It was the most expensive coating to purchase, but it was one of the more easy coatings to apply. I was actually really shocked with how easy the coating was to install. It's maintaining beautifully, really nice hydrophobics, really impressive that we have no water spotting issues on the roof. We've had a lot of opportunities for it, so that's nice to see, especially with a fresh coating. Sometimes that can be an issue. And at this point, it is the slickest coating on the panel out of all of the coatings. So for that fact, C6 Hydro Light is coming in at number 1. Second behind that is going to be G-Technique CSL topped with EXO V5. Now, for those that like single layer coatings, this was a 2-layer coating. I had to wait 4 hours to top it with the EXO V5, but very impressed with what I'm seeing as far as hydrophobics. It was insanely slick initially. It has fallen off ever so slightly, but it's still very slick. Very impressed with what I'm seeing. I can't wait to work with those coatings more. Third behind that is going to be our Armor Detail Pro coating. It is extremely hydrophobic. Right after application, it was so slick. My hand honestly just kept slipping off the trunk. It was actually a little hard to close the trunk door because my hand just kind of kept slipping off. It was so slick. That slickness has fallen off a little bit, but I'm not mad at that. It actually just makes it a little easier to close the doors. But Armor Detail Pro, their quartz coating coming in at number 3. Now, the majority of the prosumer retail grade coatings, they all look very on par with hydrophobics. The BC1, Chronos, our Stoner paint coating, our McGuire's M888, the Geon Mo's, even the Vonix V paint, they're all looking very similar. There were a couple that I just have my eye out. The Vonix V paint, high friction areas where we were touching, the hydrophobics look like they've taken a hit. Our easy peasy coating, it's not necessarily looking like it's gonna last 2 years. Again, I'm used to taller beads, bigger beads, because I work primarily with graphene coatings, so doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, it's just looking a little bit different, especially when you have it side by side to their graphene coating. And again, our No Hype 3-year coating, I'm questioning if that's gonna last that full 3 years, but again, time will tell, and again, it could be more of a sheeting coating versus beading, so we'll keep our eye out for it. But those are my initial thoughts. Very impressive with the Duraslick coatings. Happy to see they're all looking really stellar. They all have small, unique differences with application, with cost, with their hydrophobics. So at this point, stay tuned because we're gonna share with you guys the really most important aspect, and that's durability. But if there's other elements that you guys want to see, things that I maybe left out or that I overlooked, I wanna know your thoughts in the comment section down below because this test is for you guys. We will be doing updates about every 4 to 6 months. I'm not gonna be able to do monthly updates. Maybe if I have an opportunity, if something stands out, we'll do a quick update video for you guys. So I don't want you to leave the channel because I do think there's gonna be valuable updates for you guys to see. But at this point, very impressed with 99% of the coatings on this vehicle. We're still gonna add a couple to throw into the mix, so stay tuned for those updates on those coatings as well. But if you have questions, let me know in the comment section down below. But thank you guys for your patience. Thank you for tuning in, and hopefully we will see you guys in the very next detail. Have a great day.